All right, so back in 2020, I won two FLW Toyota Series events, and that gave me the kick or the start that I needed to fish on tour. At the end of that year, decided that the only way I was going to fish the tour is to quit my job. So here we are, quit my job. Basically, that was probably one of the scariest decision of my life because I have two kids. I got a mortgage, got a house payment. I got a family to take care of. I'm the only one working in my household, and yeah, it was a decision that I look back and I still kind of cringe at because it's crazy, downright crazy. Did not know exactly what I was signing up for, so kind of want to lay it all out there for you guys and kind of give you an insight on what I had to do to get to where I'm at and what it takes to be here. So anyway, basically at the end of 2020, I called pretty much all the sponsors, everybody I knew, just trying to raise as much money as I can. It's probably referred to as sponsorships, but yeah, basically I needed, again, they didn't know exactly how much it was going to cost, but that year, fuel prices were still pretty low. The economy was doing good. So I felt like I started at the right time as far as, asking for help. But yeah, to my surprise, after about 3 phone calls, I already knocked off pretty much most of at least the entry fee. And on top of that, what I had won in 2 events, I had saved some of that. And I was able to kind of add everything up. And then just for safe measure, I took a mortgage out of my house. I pulled out some money. I try to do as smart as I can. I started my insurance business. And for anybody who doesn't know, insurance is one of those businesses, like many others, is going to take you a couple years to build. So with that being said, that was my source of income. But that first year in insurance, you just don't make enough money to raise a family or anything like that. So it's pretty much a supplemental income. And again, I had to win enough money, basically set up a budget, what I had from my house, sponsorship, what I estimated that it was going to cost to fish the tour. I just pretty much wrote it all out. So we had a budget, giving myself 2 years to build up the business, to stop drawing from my savings, and off we went. Anyway, that first year, okay, it's kind of long, but I'll make it as short as I can. That first year, I fished and finished 32nd or 33rd in points out of like 159 anglers. I made the title, which was formerly known as the Forest Wood Cup. 2 days of practice on bodies of water I've never been to before, so I was super excited and happy about that. I didn't realize how good these guys are. I didn't know what it took to travel, the lodging, the research. I didn't know how to research these lakes like I do now. It was a struggle. I mean, there was a lot of nights where, I'm going 4 or 5 hours of sleep and so wound up, so stressed out, trying to build my business, trying to juggle family, try to juggle all the fishing stuff. And somehow it all worked out. At the end of the year, it was a big slap to the face, or at least a wake-up call, that I won $58,000. And I spent 52 grand to get that. So if I was fishing on my own dime, that means that I would have only made $6,000. So not a lot of money. That was the wake up call that I needed, that, hey, you know what? The key thing to this is to have the right relationships, right partnerships, right sponsorships in place. I quickly realized that winning money out there isn't sustainable. So from there, my second year, kind of improved on some of my partners, sponsorships, things like that. And that's when, man, gas prices shot up, the lodging shot up, everything shot up, even the expenses for my home. So I went way over budget. And on top of that, I went through my sophomore curse. It was one of those years that I just could not catch them. Actually, looking back on it, I actually had the best practices that I've ever had. You know, just caught them everywhere we went. Pretty much I was done practicing after a day. I mean, that's how good my practices were going. And then something changed and I wasn't able to adapt. I wasn't able to catch them, just had these bad breaks. And things didn't work out. At the end of that year, man, I was going broke. I was honestly at a point in my career where I seriously thought about quitting, but there was a few things that kept me going forward. It's just, the first thing is, man, I know what it took to get to where I'm at right now. And, driving to Northern California, all the miles I put on my truck, all the times I spent sleeping in my truck, all that, if I would have quit with my sponsorships and everything, the thought of having to start all over if I decide to change my mind and do it later, I just know I just didn't have it in me at my age and my family situation to keep going. So, it forced me, actually having a bad year was actually one of the best things that happened to me because it forced me to have some of these tough conversations that I did not want to have. So went to all my sponsors, we discussed that, things were getting more expensive and I needed more help. And to my surprise, most of the companies that I work with, they were able to help me out a little bit more, some more than others, but pretty much everybody was a crucial part in allowing me to keep on pursuing my dream. So that was, I look back at that, that was a very crucial moment in my career. Because if you think about it, after you have a bad year, you're not gonna want to talk to any of your sponsors. You're basically just gonna hope that they hang on to you. You don't get cut. I mean, I did get cut by one of my major sponsors, but that was due to budget reasons on their end. But at the end of the day, I mean, it all worked out. And, I look back at it now, it's just like, man, having a bad year is actually one of the best things that ever happened to me. So moving on to this year, ended up, I think, 35th. And we did pretty well. So unfortunately for the invitationals this year, they made a lot of cutbacks and I decided to stay with the invitationals. On the invitationals, the difference from the last 2 years to this season that we just had was, I think when I calculated the percentage, we were somewhere, I think the 94, 95%, if I remember correctly. And then they cut it down. They watered it down pretty big. It was like 82%. So the payback changed significantly because last year, pretty much you have to beat half the field and you were getting, a baby check for, I think, 61st through 70th or something like that. This year, they're paying back top 50. That 50th place check, which would have been 10 grand last year, is only 8 grand this year. And on top of that, the winners, instead of getting 100, it's only 80. And then, the pay just really got watered down this year. And on top of that, the biggest thing, in my opinion, is they took away the title, which, again, formerly known as the Forest Wood Cup. Anyway, I'm not one to complain. I try not to complain. I want to be one of those guys that, just fuss about things that are not in my control. So I went out there and fished, but, at the end of the day, we all knew what we signed up for. But, I guess I really got to know what I signed up for is after that last event at La Crosse. It really starting to hit me. I started to realize, man, we're done already. I'm going to lose a few thousand here and there for placement money throughout this season. And I lost a $10,000 guaranteed check. So remember my first year when gas prices were cheap, did about the same. I only put 6 grand in my pocket. This year, I didn't have that extra at least 10 grand and that opportunity to win, $200,000. So, it really got me to think that, hey, this is not as good, or, I can't sustain my career on the invitationals, but hey, this is all we got. So I think I would have definitely gone out next season and continue fishing if they had not changed the Bass Pro Tour requirements and kick out 35 guys. That was the biggest reason for me to not continue fishing with MLF. My thought process on that's like, hey, if we all don't take a stand and let them know that, hey, what they're doing is not okay, then things are never going to change. So at the end of the day, I think, I think they're still probably going to get a full field. I don't know yet, but I do know a lot of people that are leaving. I still have personally talked to guys that I know that are leaving because of this. But I think that was the biggest thing. We get that the economy, everything going on right now in the world is not good, but to cut 35 guys, I couldn't really wrap my head around that. And honestly, it's been quite depressing just thinking about that. It's like, man, I sacrificed so much to be out there. 80 spots, it's already hard to get one of those spots. But man, now they're moving down to 50. And, I feel especially bad for the rookies that have to have a phenomenal season next year just to stay on tour. So I just, took a step back and kind of thought about it for a couple weeks. Still did not know what I want to do, because I know the open schedule is a more tedious schedule for me, especially coming from the West Coast. And man, I'm going to have to travel a lot more. I'm going to be home or gone away from my business and my family more. And the cost is going to be about the same. And anyway, that's the main reason why I didn't want to go fish the opens. But man, I had no choice, especially after making my post asking you guys, well, actually on my Facebook page, where I should fish. And to my surprise, I think like over 90-something% of my followers told me that, hey, I should go fish the invitation, or I'm sorry, go fish the Bass Open EQs. So that really opened up my eyes and helped me make that decision, because I think if it had been the other way around, I would have just stayed and stuck it out. But at least for me, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Although it's going to be harder, that's the thing that I'm probably not excited about. But I do know, and, I envision that, hey, if I do make that top 9, it's just going to feel so much better to, qualify for something like that, because, it's really hard. And anything that's really hard and worth pursuing, once you get it, it's just going to feel that much better. So anyway, just want to lay that all out there for you guys. It's going to be a tough road ahead, but man, I'm going to get after it and, do what I can out there. I've only been to 3 of those lakes on the schedule, and I'm going to have to research and practice. Luckily, practice is a little longer. I'm still probably only going to practice about 4 days, because I think 5 is a little bit too much. Personally, I'm not somebody that likes to practice a lot, just like to have an idea of what's going and going on at that lake, and just go figure it out on a day-to-day basis. So anyway, I'm gonna start my YouTube channel. I'm just gonna dive in and talk about whatever fishing related, kind of give you an insight on the fishing scenery or fishing industry as it sits right now. I just wish that things weren't the way they are. Just kind of give you guys a heads up. My son is starting to fish tournaments right now, and we were just talking about it with a couple of my friends. And I'll be honest with you guys, when he was born, I was really excited about getting him to be this little protege, teaching him everything that I know about fishing, turning him into a really good stick and fishing professionally someday. I can't say that I feel the same way anymore. Now, I hope he loves fishing like I do. I hope that fishing is just his therapy like it is for me. I hope fishing is everything to him, like it was, or like it is for me. But I don't want him anywhere near professional fishing as it sits right now. That's just how I feel. Fishing has definitely changed in the last 6, 7 years. It's not what people think it is at the end of the day, or just influencers. And he's got, the quicker he realizes that, the quicker you realize that, if you're trying to pursue this, the better off you're going to be. Because, there are many pros I know myself out there. They are, hammers, absolute hammers. But, when it comes to sponsorship help, partnerships, they just don't have that side figured out yet. And I wish those guys the best, because I wish it wasn't like that. But, you have to have one of your social media channels growing. You have to figure out a way to promote the sport. If you can promote the sport, you can promote your sponsors, then in turn promote yourself. So that's the biggest tip I can give anybody trying to get started in this sport, is figure out how to promote the sport. So anyway, I'll catch you guys later on the next one. Peace out.